When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force brake activates to rest your eyes. I care you. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and I Care You software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Brake reminder and force brake help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force brake activates to rest your eyes. I care you. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Break reminder and force break help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force break activates to rest your eyes. Eye care you. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching in the world, and welcome to Race Day 13 of Beta Season 2 for AMX Global. My name's Alex, and I'm really pleased to be working alongside my good buddy over in the United States of America. A very big hello to my good buddy Brad. How you doing? It's been a long time since we last worked together.
Yeah, Alex, I think it's been since Beta 1. You and me kind of talked a little bit during the pre-broadcast about different things that we remember from Season 1. But at the end of the day, it's AMX. We're back. I'm glad to be back here commentating with you for another round. And I think we're set up for a very good race this evening or morning, depending on where you're at.
Well, it's early morning here in the United Kingdom. It's in the evening over where you are at the moment. And of course, Big thank you to our team over at AMX Global HQ in South Korea. We've got 2 races tonight, and you couldn't think of 2 different. Oh, as someone's just had a bit of an off. That was Lois Santi that was just off. We've got up first, we've got the GR86 Cup cars here at the Tsukuba Full Circuit. It is free tier race number 13. And after tonight's festivities, we will be 4 races away from hitting the 3rd of the way through Beta Season 2. So it's going to be the full version of the Tsukuba circuit based in Shimotsuma in Japan, not too far away from so this is effectively what we are going to be seeing. We've got the Toyota GR86 Cup cars, which are going to be running alongside the Fanatec GT Americas, which funny, I think if I remember correctly, are currently running at Sonoma this weekend, the GT World Challenge Americas, powered by AWS. But we've got the full circuit here at Tsukuba, and this is going to be a true test. This circuit has been around since the 1970s, and there you see this is one of 45 free tier races, 0 entry fee, prize pool per race, and it's going to be $30. Minimum payout per season is going to be $50. You've also got the paid tier 1 races, which is a $5 entry, prize pool per race, $134. And then the remainder of the races, which will be, of course, 23, we will fill out the gap there on the overlay for you. A $20 entry fee with a maximum prize pool per race of $506 with a $5 participation prize for making it through into qualifying and also into the race itself. Looks like the YouTube chat is very, very much alive with some regular haunts here on the YouTube channel. We're also streaming live on Twitch, and don't forget, this is open for anyone of any skill level on iRacing. So we're on day 13, April 29th, and then we hit day 14 in less than 36 hours on May 1st. And we'll also have some fantastic racing at that particular point. But with regards to the points for every single free race that takes place, it's 8 points for a victory, 6 for second, and what's more, we've got 8 competitors all for this particular grid. So everyone, as long as they hit at least 80% of the winner's total race time, there will be at least $1 in their back pocket. The fastest lap of the race, that's 3 points, working out to $3. But it is the full circuit, which is just a shade over 2 kilometers, and that is just under 1.3 miles. The track temperature is 50 degrees Celsius, 25 meters above sea level, and this is basically Shimotsuma is a neighboring city of Tsukuba in the Ibaraki prefecture, and it's about 60 kilometers north of central Tokyo. It is also known for time attack and very much drifting. Of course, those that might know Formula D, and this track is also very popular with local car tuners to the respective area. But we're into the final throes of this free practice session before we have a 10-minute qualifying session, and here is the weapon of choice, in the words of Fatboy Slim. The Toyota GR86. This is the second generation of the Toyota Subaru, let's say, coming together, so to speak, the conglomeration between the 2 Japanese automakers. And it is a full production vehicle, but then the North American division of Toyota Gazoo Racing will transform these cars into racing machines. So a lot of it is very much production based. It's a 2-litre inline-4 turbocharged engine, I think, if memory serves me correctly, or it might be a boxer engine depending on what they've decided to keep underneath the hood. But it's a great way, Brad, not just for those drivers that will be battling as part of the GT World Challenge Americas powered by AWS for a $1 million prize pool, but also it's a great learner for those wanting to get into iRacing as a beginner.
Yeah, the fun with the GR86, it's not a rookie car, but it is a free car. And again, with the track here, this is a free track as well. So this is one of those combinations that I talk about it, I think, every time I commentate. It's one of the things I love about AMX. This is one of those car track combos that every driver should have just a bit of experience under the belt here. It should be something that you're comfortable, you're familiar with. This car is the newest car in iRacing, and as we see Rondoletto there going pretty wide, pushing the boundaries a bit. I think he wants to test his drifting skills here in the dying minutes of practice. But yeah, this car, this track, this is a combo that I absolutely love. I put some laps in on it myself. I am not running 102s on this track at all, but this is something that all of these drivers are going to be comfortable with, and it should lead to some very fun, very competitive racing here in the sim world.
Yeah, very much the case. So we've got 8 competitors battling here at the Tsukuba 2000 full circuit layout here on iRacing. We're on board with Octavio Rondoletto from Argentina, currently rounding out the top 5 in this session, who are covered by just under, what is that? It's about a tenth and a half between the top 5. So it's going to be a close fought qualifying. We're into the final couple of minutes in this pre-practice session before a 10-minute qualification session and then a 20-lap race. So we'll probably have about 40 kilometres, well, just north of 40 kilometres worth of racing action. This track also made an appearance with TCR action when I was commentating back with our good friend at AMX Global HQ, TJ Hahn, where we had the TCRs, so we had the Honda Civic amongst others, and there was quite a lot of battling going through some of these corners. We've got Gael Valero channeling his inner, oh my goodness, he's brought back the Dale Earnhardt Gooden, isn't he? The old good wrench service back in the day when the Eliminator was really showcasing his skills. He's one of the very best in NASCAR, but the Frenchman, it's great to see him back here in beta season 2. We did see him on race day number 13. He's currently P3 at the moment. And between the top 3 here, Brad, Fabio Zampolini, Mr. Colourful, who has disappointed. He did a really good job in the radicals with his livery, with the eyebrows over the headlights. But look at the top 3, covered by 21 thousandths of a second.
Top 3 absolutely pushing it, as we see the Intimidator, as I'm going to nickname him here, Gael Valero, the magical number 3 there. I love that livery. You heard me chuckle a little bit when that livery came out. Gaston Kulhavi here in number 2. He is a force to be reckoned with every time you see him on the track. And I'll give you a fun stat real quick for you, Alex. Between the top 3 on our timing board, Zampolini, Kulhavi, and Valero, from their participation here in AMX Beta Season 2, according to the leaderboards that I have, so if this is wrong, admin, I'm sorry, those 3 alone have collected almost $1,000.
It's quite a lot when you think about it. I mean, Gael Valero at the minute in the has only, well, he's only amassed $9 in the free tier earnings. But he's managed $155 in Tier 2. We will have Tier 2 a little bit later on. That's the end of the free practice session here at Tsukuba 2000 full circuit. So, and now the timer, the session clicks over. There are your results after what? Well, Gaston Kulhavi, the number 7, managed to hit Fabio Zampolini on his last effort in the free practice session by 1/1000th, followed by Gael Valero with Victor Miranda, Octavio Rondoletto, Caio Gaspar, Lois Santi, and Diego Villarreal bringing up the rear of the field. Only covered by less than a second. But now that we've clicked over into the next session for qualification, I think we could see gaps between the drivers a lot closer than what we just saw in free practice there, Brad.
Yeah, this qualifying session is going to be fun because at this point it's just time attack. It's something this track is already known for, and these drivers are just going to get to push for the next 10 minutes. It's just going to be how many laps and how fast can you put them in, and how quick can you bring your times down. Throw in a lap and then just put another one right behind it and just push and push and push. The good thing is we're in the sim world, so if you bend the car into the wall and you pull a Leclerc, if you watch F1, no harm, no foul. If you pull a Logan Sargent, no harm, no foul. It is just simply a press of a button, do an outlap, and then you're right back to putting laps on the board. So I am going to say these drivers are going to be pushing as hard as they can for the next 10 minutes, and it's going to give us some really good action to keep up with.
Yeah, very much the case. 20 laps of this circuit will provide some scintillating action ahead of our feature race, which will be a little bit later on. It will be Tier 2, race number 7, Porsche 992 Carrera Cup cars at the iconic Donington Park Grand Prix circuit, which will include the full layout, such as the famous Melbourne hairpin. But we now are into that time qualifying. Gael Valero is the fastest of anybody in the opening sector out of 4, as we see the number 33 rather than the big 3 that's in Dawn. I'm sure that if Danny Rick was watching this stream right about now, he'd have an absolute fit because he's a big Dale Earnhardt fan. First lap times come in. Gael Valero, first driver to put a marker down, 1 minute 2.858. Gaston Coulharvey, but goes second briefly. That changes to third, now fourth, as Octavio Rondoletto goes to the top. The timesheet's nearly a tenth and a half quicker than Gael Valero as we ride on board with the number 33, one of many drivers signed with the outfit out of Corby in Northamptonshire, Apex Racing team that has the likes of Jamie Fluke, Peter Berryman and Johan Harth and Kevin Ellis Jr. amongst their ranks. Kyle Gaspar goes purple in sector number 2. Gaspar currently sitting in 6th position at the moment. Laui Santi in the 138 and Diego Villarreal. Something hasn't changed for the number 22. Has yet to set a lap time, and he always does this. It doesn't matter what pace you put Diego Villarreal in when it comes to qualification, as at least that was in qualifying, guys. Thank you very much for that. But Rondoletto out of the final corner. It's not going to have an improvement, is the number 48 on this particular occasion. That was a 1 minute 6.7 as my goodness me, hang on a second, coming out of pit road. I think Rondoletto got a bit of a fright there, Brad. He nearly clattered into the right-hand side of Gael Valero, as these two will be battling it out tooth and nail for pole position. And I think you can factor into this Kyle Gaspar, Fabio Zampolini. Well, Harvey can have a better run in this latter part of qualification with just under 6 minutes remaining. I think you can't count out Bill Harvey, but at least one of the things was he brought the Marlborough livery kicking and screaming to race day 12 just a few days ago.
I think we're going to see a bit of gamesmanship here because there's Rondoletto, and I'm curious to see, is he going to stay out of the way of Valero and Gaspar behind, who are on out laps, getting ready to start laps, and there goes Rondoletto into the pit, staying out of the way. But yeah, that pit exit was a little bit scary there. I don't think Rondoletto was expecting them to be there, and now this is where the money is going to be made here. Valero, Gaspar, and I believe that is not how you should take turn 1.
Yeah, that was definitely not a good one there for Gael Valero, who actually has the highest I rating out of anybody, and he went straight on at T1, hard into the barriers, and the left front definitely got the biggest brunt out of the whole of that chassis, and he's returned to garage and now has gone into another outlap. Top 3 at the moment, with just over halfway done in this qualification session as we ride on board with Victor Miranda in the number 4, who's currently 5th, covered by 0.12 of a second, and between the top 6 that is 3/10, and then it's a further second back to Laui Santi, who needs to make some steady improvement. But as we both know, Brad, you and I, it's times are for show, points are to go, and it's not always going to be about the fact that you are going to be on pole position. If you are on pole position, great, that's the mental and psychological advantage coming your way. As you and I both know, something normally happens in motorsport, and you do see it here time and time again on AMX Global. Something normally does happen in the race.
There's a reason Diego Villarreal is one of the smarter drivers here that doesn't qualify. It's a bit of a meme in iRacing that you don't qualify and you start in the back and you just avoid the big one and you're guaranteed a good run. And we see Diego Villarreal in every race he's in just kind of not qualify, start out in the back, and just have a calm race. We don't talk about him a lot, except for in qualifying, we always bring them up. And that's one of the big things with iRacing is, remember, it doesn't necessarily matter that you start first. What matters is you survive all 20 laps in first, which, as history bodes itself for sim racing, and a little bit for AMX, usually the leader is either going to run away or have a bit of a scare, or somebody's going to forget how a brake pedal works. There's plenty of things. Rondoletto is in a good place, don't get me wrong. It's a very, very strong time. But the key for Rondoletto is surviving that turn one, that lap one, and then just try to run away if you can.
Yeah, I couldn't have put it any better myself, to be honest with you, because now Gael Valero has picked up the pace. It was 70 thousandths of a second between him and Zampolini. That has now been divided by 10. And so the top three, folks, covered by just 57 thousandths. We've got just under 2.5 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. And the top six covered by just over 2.3 tenths of a second. Here's Kyle Gaspar making his way through into the infield section, and there is a very familiar livery. That's probably from Victor Miranda in the number 4, but Gaspar decides to head into pit road. Might get another set of fresh tyres put on that Toyota GR86. Another off-track excursion for Gael Valero, heading into the area underneath the Dunlop Bridge. So he's probably, I mean, with lap times in the 1 minute 2.7s at the minute, he's going to have an opportunity maybe to get, if he really starts winding up the wick on that number 33, he could get a possibility of 2 push laps. We know how tight it can be on sessions being discontinued whilst you're going through a fantastic hot lap, as Gaston Kulharvi comes across the line, doesn't improve, stays 4th at the minute. But Valero could have an opportunity at 2 push laps, but is he going to have enough in the tank to get past both Zampolini and Rondoletto and put it on pole for the race?
I think Valero could, and there is Kulhavi showing one of the fun things with the GR86. It is very, very light in the rear end. But I do think Valero can find the time if he can just connect a lap. That's the thing, is it's just a matter of connecting a lap. We're at the end of the session now. The drivers have been pushing for nearly 10 minutes now on track. So if you've got anything left in the tank to give, this is going to be the time to push it through. We're watching Fabio Zampolini go through right now. And as he is coming through down the back straight around the final quarter here, this is going to be the point where if you're going to wind up and push a lap, you need to start it now, and you need to really push and put everything on track, because if you want that pole position and you don't want to push yourself and have a hard time into turn 1, then you want to start up front. And I feel like Will Buxton talking right now, repeating myself and saying obvious things. All the drivers want to start up front. And it's just going to be a matter of, can they put down the lap as the checkered flag falls here? And we've got a few drivers out on laps. Gael Valero, Fabio Zampolini. Do they have enough left in the tank in order to be able to jump ahead of Rondoletto with that 102.7, who's sitting in the pits right now feeling really good about that time?
Yeah, Zampolini coming through towards what will be the final time through the right-hand hairpin through turns 10. Well, he'll be coming through what will probably be more than likely, that'll be turns 10 and 11. He's coming down the back straight away, heading into the final and 12th corner at this just shy of 2.1 kilometre circuit. And tight to the apex goes Zampolini. Is he going to run it wide coming out of the final corner? Yes, he is. Let's see if this is going to be an improvement from him. No improvement there, I'm afraid, for the flamboyant and colourful Brazilian Gaston Kulharvi. Decided to abort his lap on that particular occasion. So, for this particular race, it is the free tier race number 13 on race day 13, and your pole sitter for the 20-lap race here at Tsukuba 2000 full circuit will be the number 48 of Octavio Rondoletto. Fabio Zampolini will line up alongside on the front row in the number 327. 33, channeling his inner intimidator, of course, is Mr. Gael Valero, who who decides to see how loose the rear end actually gets on the GR86. He's lining up on the inside of row 2. Alongside will be the number 7 of Gaston Coulharvey. Victor Miranda and Caio Gaspar, the 2 Brazilians, will round up row number 3. And completing our 4-row, 8-strong grid will be the number 138 of Lois Santi from Brazil, and then Diego Villarreal starting in his usual customary position at the back of the field. And unfortunately, no, Gael Valero was not a drift king. He was just sideways, folks. So 20 laps of this circuit awaits us here in the Ibaraki prefecture of Japan, not too far away from the capital city of Japan, Tokyo. It's going to be Rondeletto on pole, Zampolini, Valero, Coulharvey, Miranda, Gaspar, Santi and Villarreal. We're just waiting for the top 3 drivers in that qualification session to ready up and get onto the grid. But Brad, final thoughts before we go lights out and racing.
Rondeletto has some very impressive pace, but everyone here has a chance to win. Everyone here showed major pace. I don't know if you noticed how close qualifying times were, but things were under half a second for a majority of the field. So lots of pace to be shown. Anyone makes one small error and that could spell disaster for them. So keeping it clean and being smooth is going to be the key to this race.
Green flag waves. We are underway. Looks like there was a bit of wheel spin from the back axle of Gaston Coulharvey. As now it's going to be 3 wide. Zampolini up the inside of Valero. As Rondeletto, the driver from Newcastle Esports, the LATAM G Challenge driver, is now having to battle away with Victor Miranda as it's side by side, still through the S-bend sections, going into the infield hairpin in the opening time. Turns 5 and 6, Zampolini loses a lot of momentum going through there. Valero's gotten into the lead. Back end was a little bit sketchy for Rondeletto going through turn 6. He's wide out of the corner and he's sideways, and Rondeletto saves it. Absolute monster save from the number 48 from Argentina. He got a coke round, but he managed to save it. He's managed to pick himself up from all of that, and they're squabbling for real estate just in front. But Zampolini now finds himself in second position. Miranda in third. Valero's got a lead of just under a second as they're coming through the 12th and final corner to complete the opening lap out of 20. But Brad, I don't know how the hell Rondeletto saved that one, but that's why he's with Junkos Esports, and he's very much well known in the LATAM region of the Logitech G Challenge.
Rondeletto showing off some obnoxious car control there, being able to save that. I'm glad that my webcam wasn't on and you couldn't see my reaction, because I threw my hands up and jumped back. That was scary. But even with that car control, Rondeletto with a abysmal start, and now he's behind Santi here, trying to fight through. It looks like side-by-side room being given. As we dive to the inside here, Rondeletto is going to pick up a place, but he's still down 5 places from starting on that pole position and just didn't get off the line well. And then it seems like it was just every corner he was getting bullied out for places. And now he leads the rear of the field right now, the back 3 cars. The battle for P6, as he's going to make up over a second now to catch up to Diego Villarreal, the ghost of qualifying, who managed to pick up some good positions there off of the start.
Yeah, Villarreal picks up 3 places on the opening lap as we're underway with close to being halfway through lap number 3 out of 20. Valero is being closed on in by Fabio Zampolini, who's just set the fastest lap of the race and was over 2 tenths quicker than the number 33 from France. Behind them, Victor Miranda now into 3rd position. Back end getting sketchy to the left-hand side as he came through the S complex, coming out of turns 5 and 6. Now into turn number 10. Tight on the apex. Run the car wide out of T11. Now down this fearsome back straight, which stretches around about 1.2 kilometers. That's about 3/4 of a mile in length. Into the right-hand sweeper here at turn number 10. Differing lines taken by Valero, Zampolini and Miranda. That's your top 3 as we come across the stripe to complete lap number 3 out of 20. The advantage has been stabilised between the top two, but Cole Harvey has just put in the fastest lap of the race. 1 minute 2.72. Rondeletto just sets a personal best and is within half a second of Diego Villarreal as Miranda very late on the brakes. Here's a replay of what we saw earlier on. Now, this is what happened to Rondeletto. Miranda was right up the inside. Oh, he just lost the back end as he drifted wide and he clattered in to the monster liveried car, which I think might have been, that was Caio Gaspar that he clashed with. But still, to have that amount of car control and having a bit of a pinball effect coming back onto the track. I mean, Rondeletto was very, very lucky indeed that he's now got past Diego Villarreal for that 5th position. Gap between Rondeletto and Cole Harvey. Harvey rounding out the top 4. It's about 2.5 seconds. We're about coming up to the quarter mark of this race being completed here, Brad. There's still plenty of opportunity. If Rondeletto puts him some quick laps like he's just done, he's just gone out nearly 3.5 tenths quicker than Cole Harvey. If he can do that over the next few laps, he'll be right on the back bumper of the number 7, won't he?
Yeah, Rondeletto has some serious pace. I mean, he didn't qualify pole for nothing. And I have a feeling that here, as the race goes, these 4 scrapping up front, or I guess it's 3 with Zamperlini, Miranda, Cole Harvey, are going to really start to affect each other. And it's going to just open up the door for Rondeletto because Zamperlini's going to have to drive in his rearview mirror as much as he's trying to look forward. And then that follows all the way back the trail. Then you get Rondeletto, who just has to look ahead of him. Gap 3 seconds there. It's opening a little bit, so there's a little bit of the toe going on as well between these front 3. So it's really anyone's guess. One small error from anyone up front, and Rondeletto's right back in the mix. Or these 3 and 4 cars up front could just kind of push and run their own race. But as soon as they start scrapping for position, it's going to open things up, and Rondeletto's going to be able to close right back in.
I think Miranda's already decided I need to get past Zamperlini as quickly as possible, and you can just tell by the movement, the way that Miranda is hustling that car through the corners and going later on the brakes. He's using Zamperlini as a yardstick, and what's also happening is the fact that Cole Harvey is doing exactly the same. So Zamperlini is at this moment, after nearly 5 3/4 laps of this 20-lap encounter here at Tsukuba, Zamperlini is the cork in the bottle. The minute that Zamperlini makes a mistake, you can bet your bottom dollar that Miranda is going to be past him quicker than a rat up a drain pipe. And you can now see on board will Cole Harvey. Miranda will have the run going into turn number 1. Might not be close enough. He's less than 2 tenths. Look how hard he is on the brakes, and he makes a mistake. That's going to allow Cole Harvey to get through. And the number 7 is going to be side by side coming out of turns 1 and 2. But Miranda has the whole shot going through into turn 3. They're still side by side getting into turn 5. Miranda back up the inside. I think Miranda was very, very lucky. I mean, he nearly counted his chickens before they hatched. But that just goes to show the prowess of Victor Miranda. He might make a mistake, but instantly he's got that caliber of skill set behind him. But Cole Harvey late on the brakes into turn 10 and 11. They bump bumpers right there and then coming out of T11. And what's even more interesting, there's back marker traffic up ahead of them now.
Yeah, Caio Gaspar here in the mix of a battle that he has no part in and does not want to hold up. Big battle there between Miranda and Cole Harvey. I didn't know where that was going to go, and I think we're going to see a repeat of it here. And he breaks into turn 1, nobody diving anywhere. But look at this, as they try to get Gaspar to basically just move out of the way. He should be shown blue flags, and I think it's interesting to note, even through all this battling, Rondeletto has lost a second to this front pack here. So that is absolutely opening things up. And if you're Gaio Valero, you're just looking in your rearview mirror and having a Sunday drive here. You really just want everyone behind you to keep battling, keep you out of the mix. Don't put any pressure on you, and you're just trying to cruise through for the next 12 laps and just go to a smooth finish to the end.
Yeah, Gaspar now a lap down on the leader as they make their way down the back stretch. from turn 11 through to the right-hand sweeper here at turn 12. It is still nip and tuck between second, third and fourth. Slightly wider line carrying through into the final corner by the driver in third place, the number 4 of Victor Miranda. We ride on board on the back cam from Gael Valero, who has got effectively Kyle Gaspar has quote unquote become his rear gunner, so to speak. And the reason why Rondeletto is losing so much time, he has got no assistance. He's got nobody in front. He's got clean air. He's got an opportunity to push. But whether that spin earlier on, that sideways momentum, that sideways drama for the number 48 has cost him majorly, with possible flat spots on those rear tyres, because he saved it, batted into Gaspar, which puts the number 5 from Brazil a lap down. And you can see how close Gaspar is to the back bumper of Valero. Now this should give added motivation for the 3 behind. Paul Harvey getting out of the slipstream of Miranda as they head down the back stretch once again. We're about to complete lap number 9 out of 20. And the gaps have started spread-eagling a little bit between Rondeletto, Villarreal and Santi. Looks like Gaspar has just gotten out of the way. Has he gone down the pits? He was in the pits a little bit earlier on lap 5 for 37 seconds. Now this is where the real work begins. No, Gaspar still behind Valero, as we see right now. So, that was nearly a loose back end for Gaspar going through the infield section at turns 5 and 6 as they head through into the right-hander here at 7 underneath the Dunlop Bridge. Fantastic camera angle of the cars just literally skimming over with the front splitter going out of the exit of that corner. Now into turn 10 once again and through 11, and it's starting to close on up. That gap is less, I think that might be less than what the timing indicates, but now Gaspar is going to go down pit road. He has exited stage right. Now this could give Zampolini, Miranda and Kulharvi all the motivation they need. And we now have hit half race distance. We're on to lap number 11 out of 20. Well, we're on to lap 10 out of 20. And Miranda now starting to push. Now starting to see if he can exploit a weakness in the armour that Zampolini is still using at this moment, Brad.
Gaspar was just there for the ride for a bit. I think it was one of those, he was too scared to try to get out of the way and cause something. He didn't want to push and possibly affect Valera. So best option for him is to dive into the pits. A bit on Rondeletto there. I think with that lap 1 contact, he took a bit of front end damage. He hasn't pit, but Gaspar has. And of course, Gaspar was a bit of his pinball there. So I wonder if Rondeletto's not just nursing a bit of front end damage along with not having the tow, not having anyone around. And I think that is affecting him here from getting towards the front 4 now. Watching these front 4, Kulhavi has had some interesting strategy down the back stretch. He's been diving on the right-hand side there, looking towards the inside, trying to have a bit of a run on Miranda. And as we're riding on the back of Miranda, or Zampolini, or Miranda there, Kulhavi was really setting up, and he's trying to set up a dive through the final corner, bringing it along the front stretch into turn 1. It doesn't seem like he has the speed to get it done here on this infield section, but the backstretch into turn 1, if there's going to be a move, I think that's where it's going to be done. And Zampolini is trying to push on Valero as well. He's been maintaining about 0.8 of a second, 0.9 of a second the gap. He's been staying within a second, but he's not been close enough to have any sort of a push on Valero, and Valero isn't being able to make any headway either. So, Alex, I think as we go in the dying stages here, this race is going to continue to heat up.
Yeah, Paul Harvey pulling to the left-hand side of Victor Miranda going down the back stretch, heading into the 12th and final corner. Zampolini is the best part of nearly 0.2 of a second quicker than Valero on the previous lap. The gap has now dropped under 0.8 of a second. 1 minute 3.347 from Valero. Zampolini a fraction slower. Miranda was quicker, so was Kulhavi. And the 2 in front. Things are starting to close up as now. Oh, bit of a mistake there from Miranda. Miranda coming out of turns 1 and 2. Nearly let the big barn doors stay open for Gaston Kulhavi. And now Kulhavi senses the opportunity that is waiting. The gap between them is about 2 and a bit tenths of a second. It was less than a tenth and a half when Miranda made that uncustomary, unforced error. Now into the infield section, now into the hairpin, going through, well, the outfield section through turns 10, 11, a little bit wider, coming out of the corner by Miranda, who instantly goes to the inside to break the toe for Kulharvi. On the run down into turn number 12. About to complete our 13th lap of racing out of 20 here at Tsukuba. What has been an interesting race, number 13 for the free tier section here on AMX Global. If you want to sign up, head to amxrace.com. Get all the information you need about the season calendar and what prizes are on offer us right now. Kulharvi again, right on the back bumper of Miranda. Miranda soaking up the pressure like a proverbial sponge. Kulharvi waiting in the wings, has got the ringside seat through into turns 5 and 6 and now into the right at 7. Kulharvi is not giving Victor Miranda any room whatsoever to breathe.
Yeah, Kulharvi is being really respectful all the way through. He's had several opportunities to have the pass done. He's let Victor Miranda back in. It's almost Kulharvi's just playing that respectful racemanship here and really showing his racecraft. He's being patient and he's looking to pick the right moment where he can get the pass done, get it done cleanly and go through. This battle has been going on for every lap since lap 1 now, and it's really going to come down to how bad does Kulharvi want that P3? Is he going to go a little bit more aggressive and try to push something through, or is he just waiting on Miranda to make a mistake? We've seen Miranda come under fire several times here out of turn 1 and 2. And as I say that, there he goes again up the inside. This is going to put Kulharvi up into P3, I believe. And yes, Miranda has to slot back in. He loses the rear end traction through turns 1 and 2. And Kulharvi, as I'm talking, picks up that P3, being patient, biding his time, didn't have to do anything crazy, and it puts him in a really good position. And now he can set off and try to make up 1.8 seconds in 5 laps, try to chase down Zamperlini and Valero.
Yeah, but in the meantime, Miranda is straight back on the counter-offensive. And whilst that was all happening, I noticed that the gap between Gael Valero and Fabio Zamperlini had dropped to under half a second. That's the closest Zamperlini has been to Valero all race long. And over the completion of lap number 14, it was 0.26 of a second separating the top two. Gap now under 6 tenths. Who was quicker out of the top two? This time it was Gael Valero, who's made up over a tenth and a half on Zamperlini. Gap now stretching to close to 7 tenths of a second. Miranda is within an earshot of Kulharvi as they still battle away, the number 7 and the number 4, over the final step on the virtual rostrum here at Tsukuba. And you can just see the body roll as Miranda turned it into turn number 7. We're now going to switch over to a replay of the overtake from Gaston Kulharvi. So you're going to see going into turns 1 and 2, yeah, just locked it up under brakes. The rear end was loose to the left-hand side for Victor Miranda. Gaston Kulharvi did not need a second invitation whatsoever on that front. Gap now between the top two has expanded to 8.5 tenths of a second. Lap 16 out of 20 has been completed. So 4 more to go, including this one. I don't think the battle for third place is quite decided yet here, Brad.
Not at all. Battle for third continuing to heat up here. The gap between Valero and Zamperlini, P1, P2, is hovering right on a second, but this battle here for P3, the gap staying at half a second. I think Miranda knows that was a big error and is looking to try to capitalize, try to force Kulharvi into an error as well. But the pace seems to be slightly different between these two, and it seems like Kulharvi just has that upper hand as we go through here. We're on lap 17 of 20, and for 3 laps left to go, Miranda's either going to need to get very, very close and do something pretty aggressive to try to force this through, or Miranda is going to just have to get lucky, and Kulharvi's going to have some sort of an error.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see, because now lap number 17 is done and dusted. 3 to go, including this one. And Diego Villarreal, well, his race did get off to a good start by getting up to 5th position after the trials and tribulations for one Octavio Rondeletto, the Argentinian, and the number 48 for Uncos Esports, who currently sits in 5th position, having qualified on pole. We're into the infield section at turns 5 and 6, and the gap has started to expand. So Zampolini now 1.1 seconds. He was a tenth quicker than Zampolini was Valero over the previous tour. And between Gaston Coulharvey and Victor Miranda, it was nearly half a second difference in favour of the number 7 on your screens right now as they come through out of turn number 11. And you can see straight away that Gael Valero just trying to go from one side of the track to the other, as Lois Santi decides to have a bit of an off-track moment in his own right. The 138 from Brazil, who rounds out 7th position. Caio Gaspar, credit where credit is due, the number 5 in the monster livery Toyota GR86, still running and has completed just over 15.2 laps. We're heading into the dying moments of this race. Another mistake there from Miranda. I don't think Miranda's probably got the tyre purchase in order to get through turns 1 and 2 without that car getting loose at the back end. That has played right into the hands of Gaston Coulharvey. And we're going to have a replay here. The number 22 of Diego Villarreal actually having an impact. This is what the 22 did not want to have happen. And this is, I'm not looking forward to what this is going to showcase. Zoll loses the back end. The car, he's turned it to the left. He should have turned it right, and the back end, whoop, slight contact with the barrier on the right rear for Diego Villarreal, who remains in 6th position. There is your race leader. It is going to be the white flag out this time for Gael Valero. The Frenchman has been absolutely ruthless in this first of 2 races here tonight. The number 33 running with the Apex Racing team crew, make his way through turns 3 into 4. Now hard on the brakes, turn it in, turn 5, now into turn 6, and it's the 90 right here that goes underneath the Dunlop Bridge at turn 7. It's been a pretty dominant performance from him. Started on the inside of row number 2, was going side by side with Fabio Zampolini heading into turns 1 and 2 on the opening lap. But it has been, nevertheless, a dominant display. Fabio Zampolini, oh my goodness, well, he's lost out a bit because he lost 4 tenths on the previous lap to Gaston Coulharvey, who's within earshot. He's about 4 tenths. It's going to come down to the line here, I think, but Valero's going to come out of the final corner. The Frenchman in the number 33 is going to take the W. But who's going to get the run for second? It's going to be Zampolini. Coulharvey rounds out the top 3, having battled tooth and nail for the majority of the race. But there is your race winner for free tier race number 13, Gael Valero, who incidentally, folks, did not get the fastest lap of the race. That went to our driver in 4th position as we get a bit of a display. Come on, go nuts please, Gael. He tried it with the Clio Cup the other day. Hopefully he'll be able to do it with something in rear-wheel drive fashion. But Victor Miranda picks up 3 points, thereby $3 for the fastest lap of the race. But you know, it was a fait accompli, Brad, because this man here, who's flirting with the barrier, well, whacked the barriers after going sideways, going through turn 8. Valero's done a number on everybody else, but yeah, it just goes to show that someone of Gael Valero's caliber was able to just take a stranglehold on the race early doors and manage to take the victory.
Yeah, Valero dominant out of the first corner. I talked about it in qualifying, and I talk about it every qualifying, but just because you start on pole doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to win. And Valero's really capitalizing on that good start. I feel bad for Rondeletto. Rondeletto had crazy pace, but I think that damage he got from that sideways moment going through the infield section just unfortunately cost him long term. But that battle for P3, I think, is the highlight of the race between Coulharvey and Miranda, just absolutely battling it out the whole time. And then Caio Gaspar, hats off to you. You stayed on track, you kept running, and hey, he at least finished. He still gets, you know, some money in his pocket for at least finishing.
Yeah, exactly. But there are your results. Gael Valero takes the victory here in free tier race number 13 at Tsukuba. Ahead of Fabio Zampolini, Gaston Coulharvey, Victor Miranda, Octavio Rondeletto was on pole, finished in 5th after drama on the opening lap through turn number 7. Diego Villarreal, Laui Santi, and Caio Gaspar rounds out your 8-strong grid, and Caio Gaspar does get points because he finished over 80% of the race distance itself. But that is just one half of race day number 13, because in around about half an hour's time, we're going to head away from the Orient and we're going to go into the heart of motorsport valley to Donington Park for the 992 Porsche Cup cars, where we're going to have a 10-minute qualifying session, a 12-lap race. It's going to be race number 7 for Tier 2. I mean, Brad, it just goes to show that we've got such great talent that showcase their skills every single time we see them go racing here on AMX Global.
Yeah, it's amazing to me, the variety of cars, the variety of tracks, and then it's still, these drivers come out and drive it better than I can, even if I were to put in, 20, 30 hours of practice. And the thing is, those times and that performance that they're doing is not easy. I would encourage anyone watching, jump on iRacing, give that a try. That's a free car and a free track, and see if you can put in a 102.73 on Tsukuba. It is not easy, and it's impressive to see the caliber of racing that comes through every single race in and out, even though you're never driving the same car 2 races in a row.
Yeah, well, that really rounds up free tier race number 13. Big thank you, as always, to Automatics. Thank you here on AMX Global, and of course, we are powered by Upbit. Don't forget to hit us up on the relevant social media channels, which hopefully very shortly should be appearing at the bottom of the screen right now. There you go. So you got Instagram, you've got give us a follow on Twitch. We are broadcasting live on Twitch as well. AMX_Global on Twitter. Hit us up on the Discord if you are a keen iRacing racer and get involved. There's still plenty of races still to go. We've just carried out race number 25 out of 90 for the season. AMX Global, why not give us a follow on Twitch, and also why not subscribe to us on YouTube. AMXrace.com is the place you need to sign up, and it has a full documentation. And also, we're also on TikTok. So for myself and Brad, we're going to see you in a few moments' time, probably in about half an hour, as we'll get ready for race number 7 for Tier 2. It's Porsche 992 Cup action at Donington Park Grand Prix. We'll see you a little bit later on.
Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Brake reminder and force brake help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown countdown starts. Force brake activates to rest your eyes. I Care You. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and I Care You software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Brake reminder and force brake help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force brake activates to rest your eyes. I Care You. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Brake reminder and force brake help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force brake activates to rest your eyes. Eye care you. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Brake reminder and force brake help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force brake activates to rest your eyes. Eye care you. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Break reminder and force break help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force break activates to rest your eyes. Eye care you. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Break reminder and force break help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force break activates to rest your eyes. Eye care you. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Break reminder and force break help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force break activates to rest your eyes. Eye care U. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Break reminder and force break help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force break activates to rest your eyes. Eye care U. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and Eye Care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Break reminder and force break help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force break activates to rest your eyes. Eye Care U. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and Eye Care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Break reminder and force break help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force break activates to rest your eyes. Eye Care U. Safeguard your eyes.
Well, welcome back for the second part of Race Day 13 of Beta Season 2 here on AMX Global. It's Alex and Brad back with you. And we switch from the Orient to the leafy Leicestershire countryside to the Donington Park Grand Prix circuit, as we have the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars, the 992 designation, which is basically up to modern spec. And Brad, we've got a lot of the drivers that have decided to return for race 2 tonight, which is Tier 2 race number 7. This is going to be race number 26 of season number 2 here on AMX Global. But we've got also Jackson Ascende joining us for this one. Two different cars, two very different circuits in the way that you've got to drive.
Yeah, of course, Donington Park, the home of British motorsport. It's a track that if I'm recalling correctly, Alex, I know you know very well. But this is going to be one of those things, if you want to think of it this way, you can. Free tier was the baby cars with the GR86, and now we get into the big guns with the Porsche 992s, the GT3 Cups. Absolutely love these cars. This is, of course, race 7 of this paid tier. The stakes are stepped up. Everything is stepped up. Alex, this is going to be a mega race that we're about to watch.
Yeah, based in Leicestershire. It's a fantastic circuit, just under 2.5 miles in length. It has also the infamous Melbourne hairpin. If anyone might remember the 1993 European Grand Prix that actually took place at this very circuit, with a certain Ayrton Senna running in his McLaren Peugeot, I think it was McLaren Ford at the time, managed to get past everyone in front during treacherous conditions. But that is the circuit that we're going to be using. 26 degrees air temperature, 55% humidity. It's the Porsche Cup cars, where they have flat 6 turbocharged boxer engines, and as paid tier 2, a total of 23 races out of the 90 will comprise of this particular class. It's a $20 entry fee for every single one of the participants, $5 participation prize, minimum payout of $200 and a prize pool per race of $506. It's going to be a 10-minute qualifying 12-lap race around this particular circuit. And for those that have forgotten to realise where they need to sign up, head to amxrace.com for further information. And it is the continuation of race day number 13. On May 1st, we head to race day number 14, where we'll have the TCR class in action for free tier race 14 for Lime Rock Park, and tier 1 race 7 with the Dallara P217 LMP2 cars at the Hungaroring. For this particular circuit, well, you can see there are the points per race. 100 points equals $100 for the race victory. Fastest lap of the race, 50 points, and also payouts at season end. And no payouts less than 200 points gathered over the course of the tier 2 schedule means that there'll be no payouts awarded for those particular drivers. And if you don't finish over 80% of the winner's total race time, you are classed as a non-finisher, which basically means no bueno, no points, no dollars in your back pocket here on tier number 2. But this particular circuit is near to the home of British motorsport, which is, of course, Silverstone. But it's the heart of British motorsport, and it's hosted virtually every form of motor racing on 2 and 4 wheels. Formula 1, touring cars, MotoGP, British GT, Superbikes. Also will host TCR UK this year. Also has hosted the British Truck Racing Association Championship, and it's also home to the British MotoGP adventures that happen. What's going to happen at Silverstone, but Donington Park has gone through a lot of ownership, especially through the Wheatcroft family, who also had the Donington Park Museum that was open for a number of decades. This is the car that they're going to be using tonight. It's the 992 generation, the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car. It also has a very different rear wing with a gooseneck style couple of stands holding onto it. It's got a larger front lip, 510 brake horsepower being produced from the rear-mounted, rear-engined flat 6 boxer engine. Is the number 3. That's Keston Kulharvi. Oh, has a bit of a moment. Also has an optimized intake manifold, so allowing the car to have a lot more breathing. Also has paddle shift gearboxes. Porsche known for its PDK double clutch gearbox transmission in the road cars. And we see the returning Fabio Zampolini of the Duckport Racing crew. But we are coming into the last 3.5 minutes of practice. Some of the corners here at Donington Park incredibly deceptive, going up the hill through turn 7 at McLean's and then into the double right at Coppice, which then brings you onto something called Starkey's Straight. And as you can see now, there was Fabio Zampolini. There's Caio Gaspar in the number 1 Porsche with the Metro Network livery. He's making his way up the hill, having gone through turn 6 at Starkey's Bridge and Swanks Curve. Now through McLean's up the hill in towards Coppice. There's the first apex. And as the number 1 powers through the next apex, effectively that becomes turns 8 and 9. And then you've got the Fogarty S's, named after motorcycle legend in his own right, Carl Fogarty. And this is somewhere where track limits are going to be at an absolute premium. And then heading down towards the Melbourne hairpin. And still to this very day, has effectively what looks like a beer can on the inside of the corner. That was actually emblazoned with a Foster's can livery. Of course, people who might remember back in the day, Foster's, basically if you spoke to an Australian about Foster's beer, they would tell you it tasted like gnat's piss. And that is exactly the verbatim that I was told on many an occasion. Caio Gaspar goes across the line. Does an improvement, a 1 minute 30.206, just under 9/100ths covers the top 2. As that was a bit wide coming out of Redgate and going through into Hollywood before the infamous Craner curves, as Gaspar will go towards the old hall, the old hairpin here at turn 4, 140 miles an hour. Exit through the corner at 5th gear, building the speed, as approaching 120 plus miles an hour, making that 130 miles an hour through Starkey's Bridge and Strunts Curve. The circuit over the years has had a lot of modifications done to it, also provides some great racing. And as we saw with Tsukuba earlier on tonight, Brad, that Donington Park is a completely different challenge. A lot more opportunities for the drivers to overtake in some fantastic, high caliber, Weissach-based machinery.
Yeah, the Porsche and this track bring a great mix to each other. It's a lot of fun to drive the Porsche. It's a lot more, there's a lot of handling to it, and you can really demand this car to do what you want through everything. As we see here through Melbourne hairpin, Gaspar goes through, and I think that's going to be a good overtaking spot. But then you come around here to Goddard's, and this is a great overtaking spot as well. And you can do a switchback and bring it right back around. Someone passes you in Melbourne's, you pass them right back here, and then it's a run down the straight. So this track is going to give a lot of opportunities for a lot of close racing. We've seen many, many close battles here in AMX, here at Donington Park, in a variety of situations. I think they ran the 86s here back in season 1 or 1.5. We ran the 86s here, and I remember some good battles. So this is going to be a really fun race, and we're even seeing it here in practice. The times are very close. I don't think that's what you want to do, Gaspar, in the race. Maybe he's just getting it out of his system early.
Could be. Whether there was a problem with the pedal, you never know. But the checking is out for the pre-practice session for our drivers here at Donington Park. The Grand Prix circuit, 2.498 miles. It's a shade over 4 kilometres. I've actually commentated at the full GP loop with Caterham's Mazda MX-5s a couple of years back before everything got shut down. But there are your results from the practice session. Gael Valero won free-tier race number 13 just a few moments ago. Fastest of anybody, just under 9/100ths behind, ahead of Caio Gaspar, then Jackson Alessanjo from Canaan Esports Brazil. Of course, Canaan, synonymous with the name Oli Canaan, who this year will be taking part next month in his final appearance at the famed Brickyard for the Indianapolis 500. And it is one of the biggest months in the motorsport calendar, with also the Monte Carlo Grand Prix happened that very same weekend, Formula One. There is Fabio Zampolini. He's definitely been told to step into line with the livery, but I have to say that car looks absolutely resplendent. And that predominantly dark metallic black livery with the sort of fluorescent greenish accents to it, as we now see the 138 of Loïs Santi, one of Zampolini's colleagues from Duckhawk Racing, as the drivers now making their way through. There's the Fogarty S's, Valero making his way through. It's time for qualification. 10-minute quali session, 12 laps of this nearly 2.5 mile circuit, making their way through the Melbourne hairpin, and the run up into Goddard's. And good to see that Gael Valero has already got an Apex Racing theme livery showcase. I think that's the first time I might have seen him in an ART Racing livery. Not to be confused with the ART FIA Formula 3 Formula 2 squads, and also the new with only F1 Academy Championship that has just got underway this weekend at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. But with 2 minutes in, no one yet to have sent a benchmark time, but we're riding on board with 3:27. Fabio Zampolini, who's made his way through Hollywood at turn 2, now through the Crater curves, down into 4th gear, tight on the apex through Old Hairpin, now up through Starkey's Bridge, up to 5th, into Schwantz curve. Will be pushing the best part of nearly 130 miles an hour as he goes hard onto the brakes, into well, Harvey's just found himself backwards coming out of turn number 7 at McLean's. Through into Coppice. Valero is the quickest driver of anybody in the opening 2 sectors, so halfway through the lap, the number 33 is already making his way down Starkey Straight into the Fogarty S's at turns 9 and 10. Comes over the curves coming out of the second half of the chicane as he goes towards the timing line for sector number 3, fastest of anybody, number 33 from France, going through out of Melbourne hairpin, and then the run to Goddard's. So 2 successive hairpins, 2 premium overtaking opportunities here at Donington Park as Valero goes tight into the apex after sweeping the car through wide into the corner, and he comes across the line to set the first benchmark, and it will be a 1 minute 29.745. Loïs Santi, Jackson Descenje, Zampolini goes in with a 1 minute 30.806, goes second at the moment. That will be bested very shortly, I'm sure. Loïs Santi, 1 minute 32.03. Descenje goes third with a 1 minute 30.922. And again, purple in the first sector by Gael Valero in the number 33 from Apex Racing Team. Loïs Santi running at the top 5. Gaston Coulthard, first lap has been disallowed, I'm afraid. So number 3 will have to make his way around the circuit. Not yet in the first 4 minutes seen Victor Miranda, the running in the number 17, out on an out lap so far. But again, fastest in sector number 2. Valero know this track very, very well indeed. This car currently used in the Tag Heuer Porsche Esports Super Cup Championship, and also is the car that is currently used by a multitude of national and international championships, especially with the fact that Spa-Francorchamps, which has currently had the 6 hours of Spa, take place for the FIA World Endurance Championship. Not going to give you any spoilers on that, folks, on who won, but there was a 1-2 victory in the LMDH class. But Gael Valero is fastest ever in the body once again. Was that an improvement? Yes, it was. 1 minute 29.547, halfway through this 10-minute qualification session. Gaston Coulthard is not that far away from posting his first lap. Be waiting with bated breath as to what that is. As Kyle Gaspar out of the final corner, is he going to improve on this tour? 1 minute 30.24 gets the gap down between himself and Valero to just under 7 tenths. Gaston Coulthard puts in a lap time, 1 minute 30.701, which puts the top 4 covered by just over 1.1 seconds. As we're into the last 4.5 minutes of qualifying, so Valero at the moment, Brad, is looking to showcase his skills, but everyone else is on the back foot.
Yeah, and it's interesting for me when you look here at the license rating, at the I ratings of the license classes that are showing up. Valero, Gaspar, Zamperlini, Kohlhavi are all A class road drivers, and then you have Santi and Miranda who are B class, and Resende who is in C class. Now you'll notice the I rating discrepancy, but I don't think that really tells the full picture of our grid today. There's a lot of skill being shown. Valero is just, it might be he's more comfortable with this car. So, and that a lot of times in iRacing and with, the way AMX is set up, we run all varieties of cars and tracks. He may just be more comfortable with Donington Park. Of course, this car and this track are paid content. You do have to purchase them to drive them. So I think a lot of it goes into a degree of comfort level and skill. All drivers, whether they want to admit it or not, there's always a special car, special track, special setup that they gravitate towards. So for Valero, this might be his thing, but I still don't think we have the best times from everyone on the board. I still think Kohlhavi, Resende, Zamperlini, Santi, and Gaspar all have a bit more time they're going to find here in the last 3 minutes. I think there's a bit more to come out of those cars as we go through. And then again, I might be wrong, and Valero might just best his own time and leave everyone in the dust. Who knows?
Yeah, that's what seems to be the case, as he's just gone purple again in Sector 1 as he makes his way through the cleans at turn 7. Slight incline. Up the hill into the right-hander at Coppice. Not a bit of a slower second sector, but with breathing space of nearly 0.7 of a second between himself and Kyle Gaspar, he can afford to relax a little bit, maybe just make sure he hits his braking points, is turning in on the apexes as Zamperlini trying to hustle the number 327 Darkhawk Racing Porsche through the Fogarty S's. Then we'll go into the braking zone here at Melbourne at the hairpin, and Valero just under 2 minutes at this moment in time doesn't really have anything to worry about. He pretty much knows that he will have that in the bag, and he pulls towards the outside going into Goddard's and then rotates the car in. So we've got just over a minute and a half still remaining in the session. So if we can, let's see if we can go on an onboard lap with Gaio Valero in the cockpit as he heads his way through Redgate, turn number 1, or the second right-hander at turn number 2, which is it's going to be Hollywood. Gaspar now making his way through the 12th and final corner here at Goddard's. And we'll start to build speed again. In sector number 1, Gaio Valero. Best effort from him so far. 1 minute 29.547. Wrestling with the car going through into turn 2 is Gaspar for 5th gear. Over 130 miles an hour, about 140. Close to 150 going into the braking zone into Old Hairpin at turn 4. You've got to really nail the apex and not carry the car too wide coming out of turn number 4 as you go up the hill through Strunt's Curve, named after motorcycle legend himself, Kevin Strunt. So 2 motorcycle named corners at this very circuit. So the thing is that you've got, well, if there was Shaky on there, you would have a reference to Shane Byrne, well, Shaky, as he's more commonly known, into the Fogarty S's. Goes the number 1 of Kyle Gaspar. Still about 0.7 of a second high. We're coming to the final few seconds of this qualifying session, and the checkered will now be out as Kyle Gaspar will come out of the Melbourne hairpin. There it is. There's the checkered out now to conclude the session. And not at all a surprise that Gael Valero will be on pole position for this race. Gael Gaspar improves and gets within half a second, 1 minute 30.003 on his last attempt. Fabio Zamperlini is also improving in the opening sector. We'll see if he has an opportunity to improve. Non-improvement in Sector 2 for number 327 in Brazil. The session is going to time out. Is he going to improve in Sector 3? Yes, he does. So he's going to have one more opportunity. Can he get himself onto the front row of this circuit? That's going to be quite interesting to see as he puts the pedal to the metal, makes his way through into Goddard's. Comes out of the final corner, that flat six turbo engine roaring as he crosses the line. That is not an improvement for him. So your grid has now been decided, folks. After 10 minutes of qualifying and 2.5 miles times 12, effectively, it's going to be 30 miles of racing. That's about 50 kilometers in total. So Valero will line up on pole position. Caio Gaspar will be alongside him. Then it's Zampolini, Ulharvi, Senje in the number 93 will reign at the top 5 ahead of Lauri Santi and Victor Miranda, who did not set a lap time in qualification. Whether Miranda is going to be a no-show is one question I think we need answered here, Brad, because they're all starting to ready up ahead of 12 laps of this 2.5 mile circuit, 30 miles, 50 kilometers of Porsche 991 GT3 Cup racing, set to get underway very shortly here in the leafy Leicestershire countryside.
Yeah, that qualifying tells me a lot, and the first thing it told me is that Gaio Valero has a lot of pace and is going to be a dominant face here. We're waiting on Kulhavi and Miranda to ready up here. I'm curious, and you said it yourself, I wonder if Miranda is trying to pull a Diego Villarreal here, or if it is going to end up being a no-show.
I like to call it.
See here, as the drivers are setting up, it is a rolling start here for this race, and it looks like Miranda is not on circuit. So we've got 6 drivers set up here that should provide some really good action. Zamperlini, it's going to be really important for Zamperlini to try to get past, for Gaspar to try to get past early Valero, because I think if he's not able to get the move done early enough and then just defend his heart out, it might be a runaway show from Valero.
Well, that depends on what happens, folks, because they are coming through the Melbourne hairpin. Now they're going to have to get into formation. The Porsche safety car will peel in this time, and the green flag will be waiting to drop and start this straight. It's Valero versus Gaspar in the front row, then Zampolini, Kulhavi, Lesenje and Santi. Porsche pace car in the pits. Now we gather speed. Green flag waves. We are underway here at Donington Park for lap 1 out of 12. And Valero trying to keep it pinned to the inside. And what an outrageous manoeuvre from Caio Gaspar. But then there's been a moment there, that's for Zampolini. And it's sideways for Kulhavi. And Resenje is off the circuit going into Hollywood and has got some front bumper damage to boot. Oh my goodness me, Kulhavi made an absolute pig's ear going through into Redgate on the opening time. And Valero has got nearly a 0.6 of a second advantage over Caio Gaspar as we go through out of McLean's now into Coppice on the first of 12 laps. And the Senje now finds himself all the way back about 4 seconds and climbing, make that 4.5 seconds behind the effervescent and sideways Gaston Kulhavi. We're going to get a replay very shortly. And here it is. This is what happened going through. Gaspar went high, wide and handsome around the outside of Valero. And then, yeah, it was like one car into another. Oh, that's why there was front bumper damage for Resende, because he went right into the back of Zampolini. Kulhavi went wide and then clatters in twice in rapid succession. It was a hip check with the front and the rear right fender from the number 3. And Valero, as you rightly pointed out here, just before we went green, has already gotten a lead of about 1.1 seconds. And you can see on the briefly on the rear cam of Zampolini, look how crumpled that rear bumper is. But thank goodness that the radiators are not in the back of the car, they're actually in the front of the vehicle. And was there a little bit of debris I just spotted from Zampolini's car going past Lois Santi just there, going through into the train of curves as they go up the hill through Schront's curve at turn 5, now into Starkey's Bridge at turn number 6 before the hard braking zone into McLean's, and Zampolini finds himself about 2.5 seconds off of Kyle Gaspar. Jackson Ascende is trying to close on in those in front, and Ascende hasn't really had the best start to this race that he would have wanted.
Yeah, it looked like that entire turn 1 interaction kind of fell back on Resende. Resende hit Santi, and then that sent Resende out, and then he spun, and Kulhavi spun and collected him. So it seemed like that was just overall an error on Resende's end, and he's kind of paying for it now. 25 seconds behind Kulhavi and climbing. Zampolini is going to feel pressure for the entirety of the next 10 laps with that rear end damage. He's going to lose a lot of rear end downforce, little bit of grip there. That's going to cost him in the corners, and you can see 3 seconds already the gap between Gaspar in P2 and Zampolini in P3. So now Zampolini is going to have a strong feeling behind him there, and that is going to be the number 138 of Santi that is going to be pressing as we go through, and Kulhavi is going to get back in the mix as well, and kind of just push and poke and prod, kind of see how hard they can push each other, just to see what sort of errors they can make out of Zampolini, if they can get Zampolini to force an error with that rear end damage, and then they can just kind of let themselves through.
Well, Gaspar's lost a bag full of time and just noticed he went off track, and the gap was 1.1 seconds after 2 laps. Gaspar now finds himself nearly 3 seconds behind Gael Valero. There is Fabio Zampolini. So the crumpled rear bumper won't just affect the rear aero, it'll also affect the underneath of the car, because they do have rear diffusers on these Porsche 991 GT3 Cup cars. But Zampolini makes his way rather expediently through the Fogarty S's as they go down into turn number 11, hard on the brakes, into the Melbourne hairpin. But also the fact that Santi is being closed in on and over fist by Gaston Kulhavi. Kulhavi was was nearly the best part of 0.3 of a second. You can see he's picked up some right side damage, especially on the passenger door on that Porsche, because of the double contact he had with Jackson Resende just a little bit earlier on. And look at the lap time differential between Valero. Valero's just on a 1 minute 29.9. Gaspar, 1 minute 30, nearly 1 minute 31.4. And that was a big loss. That was the best part of 1.5 seconds. And this could allow, now Zampolini, last time around in consideration to Gaspar, was over a tenth quicker. Nearly halfway through our 4th lap out of 12, so nearly at a third of the race distance. Some great camera shots, especially through the catch fencing. Just off of McLean's. Here at turn number 7, up the crest they go. About a second and a half splitting 3rd, 4th and 5th position. And Kulhavi is really putting the pressure on Lois Santi for that 4th place. Looking left, looking right, down Starkey Straight into the Fogarty S's as Zampolini makes his way through. That gap now is dropping. So Kulhavi, despite the right-hand side damage, it's not affecting the front of the car because there's no damage on the front splitter or the front bumper itself. So the aero will be, in some respects, very much assisted. So Kulhavi has got to really be later on the brakes in comparison with Santi, and that's exactly what we see through the final corner here at Goddard's. Kulhavi tight into the apex. A little bit tail happy was the 138 coming out of that corner. They go across the line. What's the lap time difference between Santi and Kulhavi? Oh, that was nearly 0.3 of a second between the duo. And a bit of a mistake coming out of Hollywood. was a bit of a mistake coming out of Hollywood for Santi. Harvey is going to be right on his rear bumper, down through the crane of curves, heading into Old Hairpin here at turn 4. Right on the apex, Santi runs wide, loses momentum, and Harvey, will he get through for the next left-hander? He's going to keep it pinned to the outside. Harvey runs wide. He's going to go round the outside. That was a brilliant manoeuvre. Harvey had the full carry momentum round the outside of Maui Santi, and Santi, quite clearly there, Brad, had no answer whatsoever.
Yeah, Kohlhavi coming through there in Old Hairpin, and he saw the moment, seized it, took advantage of it. He had been setting up that move for several laps and just looking for the moment where he could get through. He was 0.3 of a second faster the prior lap, but it was really just a matter of when, not so much of if. And whether it would have happened then, would have happened later in the lap, Santi kind of just opened the door. He ran slow there through the Old Hairpin, and it just set things up beautifully. But now the big challenge is, can Kohlhavi make up 2.2 seconds on Fabio Zamperlini here? We see where the lap times are sitting right now, and it looks like he's a couple tenths faster a lap, and that may not be enough as we're halfway through this race now. If Kohlhavi wants to try to make a push and get through and try to chase down Zamperlini, he is going to have to find some serious time here in the next 6 laps.
He lost 0.6 of a second on that previous tour as they completed lap number 5, so Kohlhavi on the bubble of potentially getting another top 3 finish in the second successive race here tonight on AMX Global for race 7, tier 2 here at Donington Park Grand Prix. Here is your race leader, Gael Valero, looking for the double once again. We've also had Kyle Gaspar take a double header victory in both successive races earlier on, where we had the IMSA GTOs from the Audi 90 era, and then we had also some great racing in the secondary race, which was which was the Clio Cups at Tsukuba Short. That's with a lead of just over 6.1 seconds. That is going to be crucial for Gael Valero. Even if he makes the slightest unforced error, the Frenchman will know how to gather himself back up and keep himself at the sharper end of the field. Kohlhavi is starting to reel in Zamperlini. That gap is getting closer and closer. 2 seconds. 6 laps completed, half distance reached, and Valero now has an advantage over Kyle Gaspar of 6.5 seconds. We're going to have a replay very shortly of Gaston Kohlhavi's overtake on Maui Santi. Now, this was audacious. It was brilliant. It was poised as they came through into Old Hairpin at turn 4. Maui Santi just lost a run of momentum. Kohlhavi just went, right, I'm going to go for it. He just kept it into the outside, get the throttle pinned. That's at 4th gear, nearly at 130 miles an hour around the outside at turn number 6 at Starkey's Bridge. He made good his intentions, and Santi, as I said, was powerless to stop it. There is Fabio Zamperlini. Gap now starting to expand between him and Gaston Kohlhavi. And whilst Santi and Kohlhavi were battling away, this allowed Zamperlini to have a little bit of breathing space, but the laps and the time are quite clearly not on Kohlhavi's side. But we know for a fact that Gaston Kohlhavi, if you put him between a rock and a hard place, he is definitely going to be shining, and he will try and do his absolute damnedest, because now that gap has gone under 1.9 seconds. So I think Kohlhavi is starting to slightly struggle with the rear aero imbalance due to the crumpled rear end of that 327 Porsche. Gap now under 1.7 seconds. A little bit of a wiggle coming out of Melbourne Hairpin from Maui Santi, who's now a second and a half behind Kohlhavi as they come around. That will be lap number 7 in the book, so our race leader onto lap number 8 out of 12. Kohlhavi, so 1 minute 31.490 for Zamperlini. Kohlhavi nearly 3 tenths quicker on that particular occasion. 1 minute 31.206. I think Zamperlini realises that he's got to just get that car over the start-finish line and take the checkered.
Yeah, at this point, this race has turned into a matter of survival. Kohlhavi, gap 1.7 seconds now as we run here through Starkey's Bridge, I believe is where we're at on the circuit. I don't know not Donington as well as you do, but I'd like to say that that's where we're at now. And I believe this is McLean's we're going through. And looking at things, again, gap opening just a little bit. So Kohlhavi really giving it his all to go through. But truly, at this point, it's a matter of survival. The gaps are opened up enough now. We've got 4 laps to go. We're 2/3 of the way through. And really, at this point, we're going to see differences if someone makes an error. That's where we'll see a fight open up.
Yeah, very much the case. I completely side with you on that one, Brad. It's all down to how much Kohlhavi wants that 3rd position. He took the 3rd earlier on tonight, and Valero is just treating this like a Sunday morning drive in the Leicestershire countryside. And that is quite clear to see. Kohlhavi now is starting to struggle, I believe. He was actually slower. He was nearly a 10th slower than Zampolini on that previous lap. So from my reckoning, I think, that damage on that right-hand side, you can see how scuffed up it is on the right-hand side, just behind the right front fender on Kohlhavi's car. That doesn't stop him from trying, and that damage is right the way down the right-hand side of the car as well. So that is also going to cause some aerodynamic imbalance, because especially with the spice put on the car and the weight the aerodynamic package is created on these Porsche GT3 Cup cars is just, I think it's sort of it's not helping, but it's more of a hindrance for Kohlhavi in terms of lap time and speed. And there is the race leader, Gael Valero, going through the Melbourne hairpin again. He's nearly 9 seconds up the road from Kyle Gaspar. Had Kohlhavi not had that incident with the Resenge on the open lap going through into Hollywood, then we could have seen a very, very different permutation for this 7th race for Tier 2.
Yeah, you said it yourself. Valero's treating this like a Sunday drive in the countryside. This is nothing to him, and he's still pumping in lap times that are over a second faster than Kyle Gaspar. A 1:30.44 his last lap, and a 1:31, well now a 1:30.9 pumped in from Gaspar, 1:31.5 from Zampolini. So yeah, Valero, I mean, we haven't talked about him a lot this race because what was there to talk about after turn 1? Going back though to that damage there on going back to that damage there on Kohlhavi, though, the right-hand side of his car, I do think that's hurting him a bit. I don't think it's helping a lot. And that all stems back from that contact with Jackson Resende early on that saw Resende dropping way back, and Resende's race was absolutely over before it could begin. Kyle Gaspar here has also been a driver that's kind of just ran their own race as well. He's 4 seconds up the road from Zampolini, and Gaspar, 9 seconds back, but 4 seconds ahead. Nobody behind, nobody in front. Just hit your marks, hit your apexes, and cruise it along for a good points haul here in Tier 2.
Yeah, and at the moment, the fastest lap of the race, no surprise at all, folks, with a 1:29.65 is the current race leader, Gael Valero. Will then bring us onto our 11th lap out of 12. So next time will be the white flag for the number 33 from Apex Racing Team representing France. There's Fabio Zampolini, who has brought his rear-end damaged Porsche kicking and screaming. Still in 3rd spot at the moment, with Kohlhavi a couple of seconds back as they go through into Redgate at turn 1, then through into Hollywood at turn number 2. A little bit of a wider racing line taken by Fabio Zampolini through that second corner, down the Craner curves once again. And this is, Kohlhavi's starting to close on in. I mean, he wasn't that much quicker than Zampolini on the previous lap, but that gap is starting to come down a little bit. So the big question is, especially with that rear damage on the back of Zampolini's car, is that now starting to become a factor? I don't think it will be, unless Zampolini makes the biggest howler of errors in the next lap and a half, because then he could be at the mercy of Kohlhavi very, very quickly indeed. Our race leader is about 85% through what is the penultimate lap of this 12-lap encounter here at Donington Park Grand Prix circuit for Tier 2, Race 7 of Beta Season 2 of AMX Global. Valero's lead now is coming up to it's just over 10 seconds as he will now cross the line. White flag in the air once again for the number 33 of Apex Racing Teams, Gael Valero. Paul Harvey needs to be a lot closer than what he is now because he will be coming out of the final corner as he applies the power, having to do a little bit of quick, minute steering corrections to just keep the Porsche under control more than anything. And this is where it's going to be quite crucial. But Paul Harvey that time was only half a tenth quicker. There's Jackson Senje, his way out of Goddard's for what will be the penultimate time for the number 93 from Brazil. It's been a real shame because we could have seen a very, very different story. It was the woulda, coulda, shoulda situation had Gaston Harvey not had that drama. But then also the fact was Jackson Senje might have been the instigator of an incident that he had no further control over after he bumped into the back of Fabio Zampolini and picked up front bumper damage. Senje did have a fast repair as Gael Valero is coming towards the end of the final lap of this race. So let's see if we can switch to our race leader, who should be making his way out of the Melbourne hairpin. And it has been another dominant display from this Flying Frenchman from Apex Racing Team out of Goddard's for the final time. It's 2 for 2 on race day 13. Gael Valero comes your winner here in the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars here in the Leicestershire countryside. Second over the line. This time it's a better race for Caio Gasparis, but Gael Valero still trying to do some sideways celebrations, and he locks up the brakes going into Redgate. Fabio Zampolini taking third ahead of Gaston Harvey, who got to within 1.7 seconds. Lois Santi, who was on the receiving end of one of the best overtakes of the night, courtesy of Gaston Harvey, as Jackson Senje is not that far away from completing. Bit of afters there as well. What on earth was that? I'm sorry, I think we're going to have to put in some kind of regulation that you do. That was probably Lois Santi to say, hey, hi Gail, remember me? Bang! It was like it's a Days of Thunder recreation here at Donington Park. That concludes the racing action. Some donuts on the grass on the inside of the first part of the crane curves, courtesy of Fabio Zampolini. But Gael Valero now lights up the rear tyres and now starts to have a little bit of fun. I think Fabio's going to join him for some well-deserved donut shenanigans. And there we go. Fabio's trying to do his own impersonation of a Ford Mustang line lock with a Porsche Cup car. But there are your race results for Beta Season 2, Tier 2, Race 7 here at Donington Park Grand Prix on AMX Global. Gael Valero takes the victory ahead of Caio Gaspar. Fabio Zampolini still churning up the grass. He finishes in third place at number 327. Gaston Harvey with the move of the night takes fourth place ahead of Lois Santi. Jackson Senje rounding out the sixth that did start and finish the race. Unfortunately, Victor Miranda was nowhere to be seen. Nor hide nor hair of the Brazilian in the number 17. But that concludes the racing action for race day 13 here on AMX Global Beta Season 2. Well, Brad, despite the fact we had 6 cars on the grid for that one, it was still pretty entertaining. I mean, especially between Zampolini and Harvey, we were wondering how the pendulum was going to swing, and it favoured to the fortune of number 327, didn't it?
Yeah, Zampolini, even with that rear end damage there from that turn 1 lap 1 contact, was able to run it through to the end, looked really good all the way through, and fought strong. Gaston Harvey tried to push a bit there towards the end to catch up with him, but it was just too little too late by the time the laps dwindled down. Yet again, Gael Valero, we didn't talk about him a lot, which if you're the race leader, you probably don't want the commentators talking about you. And then Gaspar, again, we didn't talk about him a lot, but kind of running his own race there in P2. Yeah,
well, you know what? It's great to see that our team over in South Korea is loving the Valero Zampolini show at the end of the race. I mean, that was a great way to. I didn't like the extracurricular activities of one Lowy Santi there. I mean, there's meant to be a protocol. You treat it like an in real life race. It's like with any sort of like iRacing special event. It'll be a case of once you've gone past the checkered, you finish the race, you go back to pit road, normal speed, no full throttle, no shenanigans. But at least the good thing was we managed to see some donuts and some sideways jocularity from both Gael and Fabio. Firstly, a big thank you to you all for watching. Second of all, a big thank you to Automanics and BenQ. We are at AMX Global, powered by Upbit. Don't forget you can follow us on all the respective social media channels. You can find us on Instagram, on Twitter. You can also find us on TikTok. We are also on Facebook. You can also go to AMX_Global. Give us a follow on Twitch. Why not subscribe to our YouTube channel at AMX Global? And if you want to race with us, head to amxrace.com. That's it for the action here on race day number 13. Race day 14, we go to Lime Rock with the TCRs, and then we go to the Hungaroring for Dallara LMP2 E217 action. And on behalf of Brad and myself, Alex, thank you ever so much for watching. We'll see you on May 1st as we go into race day 14, and we're nearly at the third way through of Beta Season 2 here on AMX Global. Until next time, see you later.